Hey everyone, I'm a pretty big fan of Summoner Wars, and I found a while back these cool player aids that someone had made, um, and I was able to print these all out. And whenever I play with somebody, I'd say, "Hey, pick a race," and these are helpful to let you know what's in your deck and also what's in your opponent's deck, and just to see what's up at a glance. Anyways, they were great, but whoever made these didn't make some for the second summoners and probably some other ones. And so I took it upon myself to basically make a template on whoever made make a template of this, and then start making my own. And the reason I'm making this video is I actually learned kind of a lot along the way, um, in both Illustrator and some cool Google Docs stuff I didn't know about previously. So I'm kind of doing this for my own memory, but also just anyone who's interested in doing this, maybe for print to play, or whatever else. So anyhow, the first thing I did was make this template inside of Illustrator, and it's pretty straightforward. Here's what I'm working right now, the Deep Dwarf Second Summoner, but the template is right here, and essentially I broke this all into parts, into various layers, as you can see here. I don't need to go into all this. It's probably relatively self-explanatory, but you've got the divider here, which can be moved up or down to allow for text to be changed. All the editable stuff is in one layer here, including like the melee or ranged icons. And then the lines, border, etc., etc. You get the idea. I try to make this as painless as possible, so if I need to change the color of something, I could just select it here, go into the color here, and just copy and paste the hex code. And on that, regarding color, one amazing feature that a lot of people probably don't know about is a feature called Adobe Wheel. And if you have an Adobe Suite subscription, it works wonderfully with this. As you can see, I already have some right here that I'll explain it in a second, but these are color themes that I've imported. And a lot of times I actually would just copy colors from previously made templates to make it all coherent. But this is something really cool you should know about if you don't already. And bringing up the browser here, if you go into Adobe Color Wheel, this loads up, and I'm already signed in. And what you do is you import an image. In this case, let's come into here, and let's bring in the Deep Dwarves, what I'm working on. Come into Images, and let's take our Summoner one, which is right here. Open it. And what it does is it automatically grabs colors from this card, and you can actually drag these around and pick different spots, but this does kind of a general color scheme. And now the badass thing is you click this, and I can call this let's call this Deep Dwarves Second Summoner, and it's already set to go to a library called Summoner Wars. So I hit save. This is online for other people to look at if they choose to. But here's the badass part. You go into Illustrator, and you have your libraries open. And look, immediately that color scheme is right here. And then what you can do is you right-click this, say to add theme to swatches. And if I go to my swatches, which is somewhere. Okay, there we go. This is not the most organized interface. I can just quickly, select border, click that, whatever. Like I said before, though, I've basically been just grabbing from here. It's quicker. I've been using this little app called SIP. I'm on the Mac. It's called SIP. I think I got it for free, or it's a really cheap app. Anyhow, so that's how you can do colors. And then the next thing was I really don't want to look at the cards and manually type all of this stuff in. Super tedious. And so, luckily, Plaid Hat Games has an index of all their cards for every faction. And you can find that at plaidhatgames.com, image, backspace, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, if you really want to find out, I can give that to you. But, for example, for the Deep Dwarves, which I've already started working on, come into here, And every Deep Dwarf card, I believe, including all the reinforcements, are all here. Now, of course, I don't want to click and download all of these, so I'm using a Chrome extension called Image Downloader. And what this does, it allows you, it doesn't just scrape images from the page, it actually will grab from links as well. So this is a handy tool for that. And you have to make sure it's set to just download immediately to your folder rather than, say, asking you where you want to save it, because it will bring up a ton of dialog boxes. Anyways, you select, I'm selecting all, and I'll just put this in a different folder. We'll call this SW3. Hit download. You say, yes, I want to do it. And it basically just, as you can see down here, starts just grabbing every image related to this link. And let's go to the Finder, and it's created a Summoner Wars 3 folder for me. What I can do is I can go, okay, I've got Brath in here, so we'll go start typing into the search Brath. And there she is. And then I can just basically quickly drag this into another directory just to keep it all isolated. I've already done that. I just go through each and every one, do a quick search, it finds the image. But I've already separated those out. And they are right here. And they are all JPEGs. And then the most tedious part, well, not the most, but one of the more tedious parts of this process is in order to keep it like how this other person did it, I've basically been having to mask out the background. So luckily, Photoshop makes that relatively painless. Some are more annoying than others. This guy will probably be easier. So I've been doing is right-clicking him, going into Edit in Photoshop. And my process is I first crop to just the parts that matter. Okay. Then I go up to Select, and Mask. And this is a really cool tool. I'm sure there's little tricks that I haven't quite figured out yet, but this is how I've been doing it. And I'm just going to use the, whatever this tool is called, the Quick Selection tool. I have it set to the smallest point. And basically, you just kind of start drawing him in. And of course, it's going to select part of the background sometimes, so you can use Option or Alt and select the background and unselect it. And you just slowly but surely start doing this. And if you're lucky and the image has pretty obvious boundaries, it's not too bad. Okay. Come in here. The feet are always a little annoying. Okay, that's pretty good. His gun. You can also select a brush and just draw the area manually. So for stuff like this, I'll just adjust the brush size, like so. And you can kind of adjust the transparency to see how you're doing. And let's zoom in a little bit here. And I'll fix this after the fact. And actually, let's fix this really quick too. Okay. Okay, I'll hit OK. Then the great thing is it creates a non-destructible mask for you, essentially, which is just this black and white image here. So I'm actually going to just now manually adjust this mask. Let's switch to the brush tool, and let's switch to all black. Use my brush, and we'll just mask out this part here. And that is, whoops, and that is definitely good enough for what I'm doing. And so basically I'm going to save this as a PSD. This is Drek. Then, essentially, let's find him. He is right here. And then I've already filled in all this text here and did all this. This part's probably the most tedious of the process. But anyways, find direct. And then, oops, wrong one. Find the PSD I made. Drag him into here. And then adjust his size. And put him right there. Boom. And now this file is linked, and the great thing is if I was like, I missed a spot, you know, you come into Photoshop, just for an example, let's tweak this image so you can see, you know, I save it, come back here, and it goes, oh, you updated it. And you're like, yep. And boom, instantly makes the change. Undo that. Okay. So now I've gotten one unit down. I've got several others. So that's the process for selecting and masking out these guys and putting them in there. And let's see. Now this is the really cool part that I didn't realize I could do this. So after scraping from the web all of these cards, these ones right here, what you can do, which kind of blew my mind, is inside Google Docs, or rather Google Drive, I've been creating a folder, and I'll make a new one just as a test here. Create a folder, come in here, and let's drag a few of these scraped images and drag them into my Google Docs. Okay, and as you can see, I brought them in. Now, here's what probably a lot of people, myself included, didn't know about Google Docs. If you right-click this image and say Open with Google Docs, takes a little bit. And look at this. Does automatic quote-unquote OCR for you. In other words, it analyzes the text and converts it for you. And honestly, like, I've used other online, you know, quote-unquote free ones that you can get so many before they start charging you. Google does it for free and does it even better. And there's so few errors, it's kind of mind-blowing. And for everything so basically I just come in here, I will then open up the card. Or no, never mind. I don't have to open up the card. I can look up here and like quickly read, make sure it's right. And if it is, it's just a matter of copying, coming into here, Mother's Rage, copy and paste, right? And that kind of blew my mind. That's super useful. And that's pretty much it. Just do that with every single card. I wish there was a quicker way to get those into Google Docs. You can't multiple select and say open with. It just doesn't work. So I'd had to go one at a time, but considering the quality of the OCR, I'm okay with it. So I'm just going to delete this test here. And that's pretty much that. Some of these cards have a ton of text. And so I had to kind of manipulate. This didn't get changed. Let's see. Let's fix that really quick. Divider, eyedrop, boom. Okay. So what I'd have to do is some of these I would make the text smaller. I've been trying to keep 9 or 10 points. I changed to 9. And then I made these boxes where I could kind of change the size of them to